So I put out my last roll of hay right after that ice storm a couple weeks ago, and one of the hay bales just kind of came apart back in the hay shed. So right now what I'm doing is I'm scooping out hay about once a day and throwing it out here in the fields for the cows. Luckily, you know, the fields are greening up a little bit. It's crazy, we had an ice storm 2 weeks ago, and this is March and it's in the 60s today. But spring is here. I had a plan this winter to do an experiment, and if you look, well, you guys know, you've seen my farm. I have nothing flat. My farm is pretty hilly, the entire thing. But in this field here, I have these flat spots, and if you can tell, I've fed hay on this flat spot all winter long. I've just moved the hay ring and moved the hay ring and moved the hay. It is the greenest part in this pasture. So I guess the high concentration of manure and urine and broken down hay has helped to build this pasture up, which is cool. So what I'm gonna do now, just when I throw out hay, this is the next flat spot. So I'm just gonna start throwing out hay on this flat spot here and hopefully green this up and try to help improve the fields here. But this is Jason with the Humble Beginnings Homestead. I appreciate you guys watching. Today is actually a really exciting day for two reasons. One, we just hit 100 subscribers today. That is so exciting to me. That means we're growing. That means you guys are watching. My last video, I said we had 80 something subscribers, and then just within a couple weeks, we hit 100. So I feel like it's gonna, you know, we took a little over a year to hit 100. I think we can hit 500 by the end of this year, and maybe next year hit 1,000 subscribers, and that is the goal. So for those of you that are watching, thank you, thank you, thank you. For those of you that have subscribed, thank you, thank you, thank you. But the other reason I'm excited, today's such an awesome day. Today, we get to till the garden. So it's official. I'm so excited with this new farm. I'm ready to have a nice big garden, and we're gonna be tilling that garden today. But this is gonna be our garden area. The previous owner said that this used to be a garden, so we're just gonna go ahead and put a garden here too. Now, eventually we're gonna clear, I was gonna burn that, but it's got a bunch of nails in it, and I don't want that in the garden. So we're gonna get that out of the way. We're trying to move it a little bit at a time. But for right now, we're just gonna till from here all the way over to here, and excuse me, and go ahead and get some things started. So just to give you an idea of what I have done, about 6 months ago, not long after we bought the farm, I cleaned out the chicken coop at home, and I took all the chicken manure and I spread it over this garden area. So it's been breaking down or composting for like 6 months. And then the other thing that I did is I went for a walk in the fields. Now this field here, the cows haven't been in for a while. They've been over here all winter. So I gathered about, probably about 6 5-gallon buckets of their manure, and I went ahead and spread it in the garden. And you can see, you know, there's pieces of it everywhere, but it's good. It's already broke down. It'll go in the ground really nice, and hopefully help to fertilize the vegetables and stuff that we throw in here. So yeah, let's do this. Let's get this garden tilled. You remember last year, if you were watching, I saved up all year long, and finally in the winter I bought a 6-foot tiller to go on the back of the tractor, and that's what we're going to be using today. This is my 6-foot 3-point hitch King Cutter 2 rototiller, and we got to use it in the spring of our garden last year. Man, I'm telling you, this thing does amazing. And I'm sure there's some of you that may leave some comments, or some of you that may not like what we're doing. I'm a traditional gardener. I use a tiller in a garden. I plant in rows. It's how I kind of grew up gardening and learned how to garden. I know there's lots of other methods out there, and probably better methods. I don't knock them. There's raised beds, there's no-till, there's several other methods. But for us, and what works for us, is using a tiller, tilling up the land, planting in rows, traditional gardening. So if you have any tips or pointers on how to get away from traditional gardening and have a more effective way to garden, we are 100% open to listening to that. But right now we are traditional gardeners. So all I've got to do is get the drive shaft hooked up for this thing. And that's one thing that I like. I was going to show you. This thing is shaft driven. So you've got a shaft right here and a shaft right here, which goes to the PTO, and this drives the tines, and that's what tills up the ground. So really quick, let me get this drive shaft hooked up and we will get to tilling. Drive shaft's in, it's ready to till. All right, guys, I am going to wrap up really quick because we are losing daylight, but I'm really pleased since this is our first garden here. If you look at this soil, that's actually pretty dark. I don't see a lot of light brown, which would be clay. I don't see any red, which would be clay. Now it is still a little, it's a little wet because we've had that ice storm and then the snow, and it's been really rainy here in Kentucky the last couple weeks. But it's not muddy. So it may be dark because it's a little wet, but this looks promising. I'm pretty happy with how this dirt looks. So I've still got the other half of the garden to do. I'm going to try to get that done before I'm 100% out of sun. But this is promising. It's very exciting. It looks like really good ground. It's a nice spot to garden. No trees, no shade. I'm excited. I may put a little bit more cow manure on it, and here when it dries out over the next week, go ahead and run over it again with the tiller. We will be planting peas here shortly. I think they're due to go in the ground here on starting at the 13th, somewhere in there. So we've got to get it done. But guys, as always, I appreciate you watching. There wasn't a whole lot in this video, but as I promised, I'm trying to put out more content, and spring is here. So be prepared for a lot more content to come out. Again, thank you for watching.